Hi, I'm Michelle Walker. Welcome to the Empowered Aging podcast, where we talk about all the things that go into living long, active lives, independent, and not needing assistance. So, today I want to talk about posture and how it affects breathing. I'm sure you guys have seen those people really slouched over, and I always wonder, are they breathing well, right? So, but let's step back a second. Have you ever noticed that when you're short of breath, maybe after climbing stairs or walking uphill, that you might instinctively start to bend forward, putting your hands on your knees? A lot of people do that. And the interesting thing is that that position actually can help you breathe short term. We'll get into that. So, I want to talk about that connection between posture and breathing and why we sometimes have to bend forward, but at other times, slouching is not the right thing to do. And because that difference really matters, right? Especially as we age and things don't move as well, we start getting tighter. We need to be sure that we are breathing well. So let's start with this little trick, actually little self test. So if you're in a place that you can do this with me. If you're sitting down, or you can even do it standing up, I want you to just to slouch forward, really pulling your shoulders in, lowering your chest, just slouch down as much as you can and try to take a breath. Kind of hard to take a good breath. But now, sit up tall, not overextended now, just a nice tall posture where your chest is open but not arched, your shoulders are relaxed, and now take another breath. I think you're going to notice, right, that that second breath when you're sitting up taller feels so much easier and fuller. You're able to get much more air in there because you've opened up that space. It's mechanics, it's not your imagination. When we're slumped forward, especially long term, if it's a perpetual postural issue, your rib cage starts to compress. Your diaphragm can't go down. The diaphragm has to go down in order for the lungs to expand. Breathing becomes more shallow. It's hard to take those nice big breaths. And then those neck and shoulder muscles start doing more of the work. And so they get really tense and tired. Over time, that breathing pattern can lead to fatigue, neck tension, headaches, and just generally lack of good endurance. You tire more easily. So in people, as they age, if they start to develop that what we call thoracic kyphosis, where they've got this more of a hump bag, their lung capacity can actually be measurably reduced because they're compressing and those lungs can't expand. So studies have even shown that that excessive rounding is associated with reduced respiratory efficiency and lower lung volumes, which just means that your lungs aren't working to the best of their ability because they can't fill up, can't open. I I like to use the analogy of a balloon. If it's allowed to have free space, we can blow it up, right, to nice and big. But if someone's holding it and I'm trying to blow it, it can't expand. So the same thing is with your lungs. So let's go back to that diaphragm issue that I touched on a minute ago. The diaphragm is your main breathing muscle. So it sits like a dome underneath your rib cage. So when you inhale, it actually contracts and moves downward, which then allows your rib cage to expand and your lungs can fill with air. But if you are chronically slouched, the diaphragm is compressed and kind of bound, so it can't move well. If it can't move well, it can't move down and the lungs expand normally. So the body does what it has to do and compensates by using the neck and the shoulder muscles to try to fill the chest. So you'll see the upper chest expand more in people that don't use their diaphragm. And that's really not as efficient. So, and not only does the diaphragm assist with that breathing, but the diaphragm actually helps with engaging your core. And the core is really important for stabilizing your trunk. Right? So when we're trying to get our balance and do things, we actually use that diaphragm to help stabilize us as well. So if you're not breathing well, you're not using your diaphragm well, that can also affect your balance and your stability. And that's really important for people who are already afraid of falling and having trouble maintaining their independence. So it all kind of connects. So let's go back to what we were talking about leaning over onto your legs sometimes. So if slouching is bad for breathing, then why do we instinctively bend forward when we're gasping for air? And you've probably seen it, right? People, if you see people running and then they come down and they kind of lean over to try to catch their breath. A lot of sports people, basketball, things like that, you'll see them catching their breath in breaks. Their hands on their thighs, they're leaning forward, their head is slightly down, and it looks like slouching, but it's actually a really good temporary strategy. The thing is, they're not really slouching. They're not compressing here. They're still open. They're just, as you might have heard me say in previous things about hip hinging, they're hinging forward. They're supporting themselves. And by supporting their hands on their shoulders are more stabilized. And then these muscles up here, we call accessory muscles, the shoulders and the neck and chest, they can expand more forcefully because they've got some support. And the diaphragm can still actually work a little bit because we're not crunching it. We've changed the angle of it, but we haven't scrunched it down through a slouch. So it does improve that mechanical advantage of the diaphragm. So in people with lung conditions like COPD, this position can be really helpful when they're needing to catch their breath if they become breathless with some activity. But the key difference is that the posture that chronically collapsed, that restricts breathing, okay, just cuts it off. But the temporary forward leaning when people are really under distress helps breathing. One is a long-term problem, chronic slouch posture, long-term problem. The tripod position, that's what we call that hinging over the hips, that's a short-term solution. So it's not something that should be used all the time, just something when you're, needing that extra thing. So why does this matter? As we get older, the cartilage between the ribs can stiffen. The spine can start to round forward. Muscle strength can decline, and endurance can reduce. Now, I hope you noticed that with each of those comments, I said they can decline, they can reduce. Doesn't mean they have to, all right? It's not inevitable. So we can do things about this. It is not inevitable. And if your posture is already compromised, your breathing reserve is smaller to begin with. So we need to make sure that we address those issues in order to help your breathing. So if those things are issues, that means you get shorter breath sooner, you fatigue faster, you might start avoiding activity because you get too winded and you don't want to do it. And then that sets up this spiral, right? You become weaker and weaker, slowly leading into deconditioning, as we say. It's just a never-ending cycle. So, and then on top of that, in people with Parkinson's disease, those postural changes with on top of the rigidity that they often have, that can affect their voice. Because if you can't get a good breath, you can't project. If you take small little breaths like this, then you start talking softer. You need a good breath so that you can expel and project, right? We know that from people on stage. They take really good breaths. So the connection between posture and breathing is not a small one. It's a big deal. It affects your energy levels, your exercise tolerance, your balance, your confidence, your independence. So this is the thing. Posture is really important. It's not just about what it looks like. It's about the mechanical advantage of being able to breathe, improving your posture. So what I tell people is that leaning forward can help you catch your breath. Sure, that's a temporary issue. You've lost your breath for some activity. Lean over, catch your breath. But improving your posture is going to help you not lose that breath so quickly in the first place, right? You're going to be more efficient with your breathing and you won't get breathless as quickly. So it's good to have both tools in your toolbox. It's okay to use that tripod position when you really need it, but let's see if we can improve that posture so you need it less. So what that means is we need to improve the mobility of your spine, which allows it to open up. We need to improve the endurance of the muscles that control your posture, your core muscles. We want to improve your ability to use your diaphragm when you breathe. Some people really have a hard time with breathing, even without true postural issues. Their automatic breathing, your natural breathing, is through the chest, which is just not as efficient. So we want to teach or improve that use of the diaphragm for breathing. And then, of course, we just want to improve overall conditioning because that's going to help with breathing as well. Breathing well, obviously, supports movement. Moving well supports staying independent. And that's what I'm all about here, right? I am here to help you live an independent life, active, great quality of life, doing what you want to do until the very end. So, next time you feel short of breath, notice what your body's doing. Are you slouching over? Or are you using your tripod position? Are you sitting up tall? Where are you breathing? Are you breathing just through your chest? Just make notice of this kind of stuff. And on a daily basis, I want you doing self-checks of your posture. Look at yourself in the mirror, stand against a wall, whatever little clues you need, ask the people around you, am I standing tall? Am I slouched? We can do something about that. It is not too late. Any small improvements that you can make in how you sit and how you stand can really improve how you breathe and how much energy you have through the day. Because if you don't get enough oxygen, it's going to really make you feel fatigue. So I just want you to remember that posture is not a cosmetic thing. All right. It's not about how you look. It's about how you function. It's about how you breathe. It's all getting that mechanical advantage. So it is trainable at any age. If you are hunched over like this, I cannot guarantee you that I can get you up to model quality, but we can improve it. And that's what we're always going for, improvement, not perfection. Let's just improve to the best of your ability. So click below. In the show notes, you will see a link to a video where I show some postural exercises that will help improve that more open posture that's needed for that good breathing. So please check that out and give those a try. And of course, if you ever need any assistance with any of this stuff, some guidance, please reach out to a physical therapist in your area or to me. whatever you do, get the help you need because we want you to move well, live well. All right? I hope that helps. Give it a try, and I will see you next time.